Okay, this is Mike Uline with the Circle Legal Trust. We're out here in Las Vegas again for our fourth annual convention. And we've got Dan Goldstein here. He's going to talk a little bit to us about some great stuff. So go for it, Dan.
Okay. Let's see here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody needs to mute their microphone. Chris, your microphone. Oh, there it is. All right.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, so I think the best way to do this is to just go to the slide share presentation. So anybody who, because I don't exactly know how to make it work on here unless, which one? This one? This? That one. Screen share. Oh, totally awesome.
Click on whatever.
Bingo.
Share. Then go back. Go to the slide. There you go. We see what you see. See, it's what we see.
Okay. Turn that off. Awesome. Okay, so let's see here. All right, so I think the best way to do this would be to put on the full slide. Can everybody see that now? Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So again, my name's Dan Goldstein. I'm with Page One Solutions, and recently wrote a book called Win with Multi-Channel Digital Marketing, and I'll hand out copies. All you guys are real excited. I know Tony can't wait to look at it, although he already read it. He even reviewed it for me. But anyway, we'll talk about sort of what prompted this and why I went down the path of writing that book. And sort of what it means to you. I will say this: I think that pretty much everybody in this room is really focused on SEO, and I think that's great. That's part of the foundation of what you should be doing. What I was trying to accomplish with the book is to go beyond SEO and not have it just be about, you know, local or link building or all the stuff that we're going to be talking about, and most of the conversations here are going to be about. Really, it's about how you take all of the different opportunities that are in front of you and make them available and take advantage of them for your clients to get more clients. So to start, I just want to start with kind of how I got here. I began Page One Solutions in 2001. Bill is right here with me. He was there with me at the time when we started and has been along for the ride and running the sales and marketing team since then. As have a number of my other people. At the time, it was really easy. You know, now we're having meetings like this to figure out, you know, where to get the best links and how to get Yelp reviews and things like that. And back then, it was pretty easy. You know, you put your website up. In fact, we didn't even have to build websites. We could take anybody's website. We'd put it up, and boom, we'd have 8, 10 first-page listings. And even on Google, when Google finally started, we were just dominating. And then it got more competitive. It got more complex, and Google started doing things like Panda and Penguin and all that stuff, and adding new features that you had to try to deal with. And then on top of that, you've got the whole situation where you've all got competitors in your markets who are spending money on TV, and they're driving tons of people to their websites by spending literally millions of dollars on TV, and now they're all in on the internet marketing game too. So you're competing not just with guys like yourselves who are, you know, relatively small practices, but you're competing with the big boys who are spending millions of dollars a year on TV, and they're able to put those same resources, and probably are putting some of those same resources toward web marketing. The other thing that's changed since 2001 is consumers. First of all, they're a lot more savvy. People are aware. They're online all the time, and so they know what to look for and how to look things up. And they're looking at reviews. They're just doing a lot more stuff than they used to. Whereas before, you know, if you searched, I use Denver a lot in this example, because if you did a search for Denver personal injury lawyers, you know, there were only 1 or 2 players that were really dominant. Now there's everybody, and people understand that they can look at online reviews to see how other people viewed them. They can look for their various credentials, look at directories, lots of ways that they can really evaluate your credentials before they even come into your office or give you a call. So that's become more challenging, and consumers also are online all the time because they play with their phones like you and I do, and they're using them all the time. And to on top of that, they're not just on internet. They're doing social media. They're in their apps. They're looking at video on their phones as well as on their laptops. So you really have to recognize the complexity, and also you got the fact that Google changes its algorithm every other day, and sometimes that's good because it hurts some of your competitors and helps you, but sometimes it's not so good if you happen to be on the wrong side of whatever Google's whim is that day. And so this idea with multi-channel digital marketing means you don't get dependent on a single source for business. It gives you an opportunity to build your brand. It also teaches you that it's not just about driving people to your website, getting more traffic. It's about what happens when they come there, converting those visitors into leads, converting those leads into cases, and converting those cases into dollars. So I put a few statistics in here. We all know about a year ago Google announced that more than 50% of its statistics.
I'm not seeing this on the screen.
Okay. Wonder why not.
Go back to screen share.
It says stop sharing. Oh, maybe I can't do the full screen thing. Let's see. Can you see that? See that now?
You should.
Let's see, screen.
Go back to screen share and click on what you're actually sharing. Okay, so go to screen share.
This one?
Screen share right there.
Okay.
And then click on whatever it is that you're sharing, which looks like you're sharing that.
No, it's this one.
Is it okay? So click on that and then click share. There we go.
Yeah. So the problem is that this is not a this isn't the presentation format. It's not a big deal. But let me make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see more of it. But in any case, a year ago, Google announced there's more people are doing searches on Google with their phones than they are with their desktops. And obviously that trend's continuing. There's also data that shows more people are doing other things beyond search with their phones, and those trends are very similar, actually a little bit behind the search trends, but more or less the same. But people obviously are using them for all kinds of things, from texting, social media, video, music, to go into doing their banking online. I mean, fill in the blank. They're doing everything. Video trends are pretty interesting. People are spending, I think it's about 4 hours on TV and 1 hour and 16 minutes on internet watching video. That's across everybody in the U.S. Obviously, some people are doing 100% online, and some people are doing 100% on TV. If you look at the chart on the right, it basically shows that the older you are, the more likely you are to just be watching on TV. But the younger demographics and even up to 45 to 54, about half of people 45 to 54 are splitting their time in watching videos, both online and on TV, on their screens at home. The other thing, another little stat that I put in there is I did a little search. This was actually Bill's suggestion. When you do look at Google Trends analysis and you see how much time or how frequently people are searching for terms like Denver personal injury lawyer versus a branded term. Sawaya Law Firm is one of the big firms, big TV advertising firms in Denver. More people right now, this is reverse, but more people are now searching for Sawaya Law Firm than they are searching for personal injury lawyer, by a lot. And another firm that's relatively new but also fairly significant on the TV side is Berg Simpson. They've started advertising on TV in Denver. Their branded searches are through the roof also, and all that's completely reversed from where it was 5-10 years ago. And then of course Google loves brands. You guys have seen all this data. I mean, whenever you do searches, often you'll see, if you do a search for Las Vegas personal injury lawyer or Clearwater personal injury lawyer, I'll bet you when you do a search for Clearwater personal injury lawyer, some of the suggestions are Dolman Law Firm. But what's that doing? That means that you're branding your firm's name. And so Google is basically prompting people to to take the step to go to a firm that they recognize. So what I'm proposing here is that we need to kind of rethink what we're doing. It's not all about getting these generic or even long tail keywords, which I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. We should, but you've got to keep in mind that the branding is key. If when people are searching for Clearwater personal injury lawyer and they're getting prompted to go to Dolman, that means he's winning that battle, and Google's recognizing him as the brand in Dolman in Clearwater that they should be going to. And hopefully in Cincinnati, that's the same kind of thing that you're seeing there, or Rhode Island, wherever. The other thing about branded searches is typically when people do a search for a brand, they're ready to buy. And often it's their first search. So if you're searching for a personal injury lawyer, you're thinking, okay, I need to find a personal injury lawyer. Well, you're at the early stages of the process. Whereas if you're searching for a brand, you're looking for Dolman Law Firm, I want that guy. I want that guy, and I want to hire him now. So, and if you look at your Google Analytics, take a look at them. I'll bet you, be curious to know what you guys think, but we see this with a lot of our clients. When people do a branded search, they're more likely to contact the firm. Do you see that, Chris?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
So all I'm getting at here is that don't ignore the non-branded searches, but focus on the brands, because if you can build your brand, build your credibility, you're going to increase your leads and your cases. All right.
Can I ask a question in there?
Of course.
Branded searches on PPC. Thoughts on that?
The only reason that I would do that is basically to kick somebody else off that page.
If they're bidding on your brand.
If they're bidding on your brand, or if for some reason you're not showing up in your branded search, which would be a problem. Hopefully when you do a branded search, unless you've got a really common name, you're right at the top. But, I mean, I think you have to look at that case by case. We rarely do that for our clients. But occasionally, if a client asks for it, we'll do it.
I think, just to feed on that, though, Dan, I think the real question is how well they're branded. I will say if you are spending money to try and steal traffic from people that are going to somebody with a destination, you're going to spend money, but you're not going to convert them.
Yeah.
Because they're coming there with intent. It's the intent of the search. Not that I'm just looking for a lawyer. I'm looking for a very specific lawyer. Yeah, you may pay to occasionally get, but you're probably not going to earn, because they're going to contact the one that they're looking for.
I have a question. Why spend a lot of money in internet marketing if a branded search is going to go to your website unless you have a really common name no matter what? So why really spend any money then? Because obviously if someone puts in Slupco, they're going to get to my website. So branded search is sort of obvious, isn't it?
Well, of course, but I mean, it's just like what we're talking about when somebody types in Clearwater personal injury, they're being prompted to go to Dolman.
Right. I get that.
But also, it's beyond. I mean, yes, you're right. 9 times out of 10, unless you have a very common name, they're going to get to your website if they know you. What I'm talking about doing is I'm trying to get more people to know you, so that when they are hurt in a car accident or they need a divorce or whatever it is, they're thinking, okay, I got to go to Slupco.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about branding. It's not about the search, although that it doesn't hurt. And Chris, I'm not sure. Were you asking whether we would recommend paying to be on somebody else's brand?
So AdWords is, obviously PI, 80, 100, 150, So, if they already have prominence for their branded name, should we do the double listing for more click density for $10 click?
Yeah, it really depends on the case. We have 1 or 2 clients who do that, but to be honest with you, it's not something we would advocate frequently. But there are clients who they're going to pay for anything because if they handle multi-million-dollar cases, and the more that they get, and people are searching for their names, their brands, they want to be all over, they're willing to pay for that. But the downside is insurance adjusters also click on those too. So you're paying every time one of your insurance adjusters who you're negotiating with wants to he's like, okay, I'm going to make this guy pay a little bit. So, all right, I'm going to move on. So what do I have in mind with multi-channel digital marketing? As I said, when I first started this, basically it was about build a website, write some content, and do the SEO, and things were great. We got leads. Our clients got leads. Tony can tell you when we started doing this, you were with us probably in 2004, 2 or 3 years after we started. We blew people away because there was no competition, and Google was simple, and it's not anymore. To do it right now, you got to do the blogging, you got to do the live chat, social media, directory marketing, citation management, all the stuff that I've got listed here. This is pretty much what I've got on level 2. To me, is pretty much of a necessity. But then you have to go beyond that. We were talking before the meeting started here about online reviews, getting reviews on Yelp. Online reviews are key. Just because of that competition, if number one, it'll help you with your local search results. Number two, it will, when people are looking to determine whether to hire you, if you've got lots of good reviews, they're more likely to take the next step and make the phone call. So, social media, advertising, display advertising, pre-roll video, and remarketing, those are all advertising strategies. And I know most of the people here are primarily focused on the search engine marketing, what's quote-unquote free, but think about how much time you guys are putting into that. There's a lot of time. How many if you look at your hourly rate and how many hours you put into your organic SEO and your local search, that adds up to quite a bit. What I'm saying here is that with social media advertising, you can drive people to connect with you, to learn about your brand, so that when they are in an accident or they do need to hire a personal injury lawyer, they're in front. You're in front of them. You're top of mind. Same thing with display advertising, and great opportunities now in display advertising that didn't exist, even 2-3 years ago. When I spoke here 2 years ago, I talked all about display advertising. That was the only thing I talked about, and it was great because it was new and nobody else was doing it. It's like 100 times better now because you can much more pinpoint accuracy, demographically, geographically. You can target people, and with very few exceptions, you can even you can basically only get charged when people click, just like a pay-per-click campaign. So it's not based on impressions only. You can say, I want, I'm going to spend let's say $1,200-$1,500, and I'm going to get 400-500 clicks to my website for that money. So anyway, pre-roll video, same thing. There's lots of good opportunities here. Remarketing. And then the last piece is, it's not just about driving traffic, as I said earlier. You got to convert. So that's where the live chat comes in. That's where inbound or marketing automation comes in. How many of you guys, show hands real quick, how many of you are using some kind of inbound or marketing automation software? What are you using?
Engage.
Using Engage for chat or?
Yeah.
Okay. What about marketing automation? Anything like you got?
So, can you explain a little bit more?
Okay. So, all right. I'll have a slide on that in a little bit. So we'll go into that in a little bit. But the idea is it's basically a way to segregate people. So if somebody comes in and they want to download an ebook or something about personal injury, or let's say it's about motorcycle accidents or something specific, that you download them. So now, you get their email address, and then you can send a drip marketing campaign that's specific to motorcycle accident loss. So they're interested in that. We'll get to it a little bit later, but the idea is, think about how many people visit your website but never contact you. Most people, most lawyers that we work with, a good conversion rate, visitors to leads, is like 15%, is very high. Some people, 10% is pretty good. Still, 5% is more is average, and is pretty typical. Well, imagine if you could tick that 5% up to 10%, you'd be doubling the leads you got. And marketing automation is a way to do it. It's basically a way to engage with and nurture people who aren't quite ready to contact you because they're interested, but they're not sure they want to do business with you yet. You can separate yourself from the rest of the competition that way too. All right, so I'm going to really go through quickly here. Website design, we talked about speed, load speed. Clean, simple design is my preference. You don't want to make it difficult for people to get around. Navigation should be easy. Drive people to where you want them to be, but tell your story. And you can you can do that very effectively, not just with text, but with video and with images. Content, a lot has changed again. We used to be able to pop out, 500-word pages, and it was very effective. But now there's a lot more competition. You really got to go deep. You got to make those pages really meaningful, really valuable to your consumers. And I'm not suggesting that there's a magic number. It's 1,000 words. It's whatever it is. That's not the case. What it is making sure that you put your time and really put in the effort to make that content really capture the needs of the consumer. If you do that, consumers are more likely to take the next step and contact you. SEO, I'm not going to waste a lot of time on that. You guys are all SEO experts, probably even more than me. But all I'm saying here with SEO, it's very complex, and Google changes the game almost every other day. So you got to be careful what you do there, and if you become wholly dependent on it, you could be in trouble. Directories. This is something that I think is really important now for backlinks and for guest blogging, building your credibility, as well as for NAP consistency. And I'm going to do a little shameless plugging here. I brought a few flyers. So as many of you know, I have a number of legal directories that I've set up. One of them is personalinjury.com. Anybody who wants flyer on that. I've got another company, Altru Media, and we've got probably 500 different legal directories out there. And there's some flyers on this stuff too. So feel free to take those if you're interested. We're building new ones all the time, and the point with that is that here you go. And this is the inbound marketing, so that tells you a little bit about that. The point with the directories is take advantage of the opportunity. That is great. Through Chris, you guys are always sending me content that I can publish on multiple websites, informational websites, directories. Those are all linking back to your website. It's helping build your backlink profile, and they're niche. They're all specific to the specific thing. They're specific to your specialty. Online video. I'm assuming most of you are pretty up to date on that. Most of you are using the online videos. Is that a fair statement? Not using videos. Time to use them. No, it's not expensive. It's not expensive. To do it, you don't have to spend a lot of money to do video. And believe it or not, it comes up well in search, and you can use it for a number of things. You can use it for video blogging. You can use it to talk about your practice and what makes you different. Gives you an opportunity to build rapport with the visitors who are coming to your website. Use it for frequently asked questions. We do that all the time. When we bring in a new client, we have them come in. We do 25 videos as part of our startup process. So those videos get dribbled out over the course of the year. There's a steady flow of videos, and they're great for long-tail search. Really good for long-tail search. So if you're not using video, there's a takeaway for you, and that is a no-brainer. It's not expensive. Not expensive. You can get a good quality video camera with a tripod, with some lighting and audio equipment for under $1,000. And I mean, very high quality, more than what you need for online usage. And and then the editing process is really simple too. You do not have to be a master editor to do it. Software is out there. It's real easy to use, and you don't have to make these big fancy videos that are with music and all this stuff. I mean, you can do that, but it's about giving people information they want in a digestible format.
If you're kind of worried about the quality of the videos too, because you want it to look really good, I would say certainly the most important, because the technology is out there. You can go to Best Buy and get some pretty darn good quality stuff, but it's the audio. I do encourage you to do lavalier or external microphone kinds of stuff, as opposed to trying to shoot it through the mic on the camera, because it sounds really hollow. It sounds like a homemade kind of thing. Invest in the audio if you're worried about the cost or anything like that.
I was thinking more of having a video production company come in.
And you can.
That's what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking I didn't realize how easy it was.
That's really easy.
Yeah.
You can do it yourself, but even if you didn't want to do it yourself, I mean, you can do. I can help you with video production. It's not that expensive.
Tony knows a guy. You send him the raw video, he'll splice it, edit it, put a roller in the bottom. You know,
Yeah.
Bumper music, everything. So.
Video is definitely something you should be adding to your website on a regular basis. Among other things, we were talking about reviews earlier. Video testimonials, and I don't know about Florida if you're allowed to use them still. You know, there's some issues in Florida, but use video testimonials. I mean, people are, you know, it's great when you talk about how great you are, but everybody talks about how great they are. You thump your own chest, and you know nobody believes it. But if somebody else says, "This guy's great, they treated me well," and by the way, it's about how well you're treated, not about the result. Everybody who's touting, "Oh, he got me $1 million." That's, I mean, yes, that's important, but what's really important is he returned my phone calls.
That's exceptionally difficult to get a client to do video testimony. I bet you 999 out of 1,000 people are going to say no. It's uncomfortable, I think, for a lawyer to approach a client, ask them to do the marketing for them. It's something that I probably would never do. But I think I agree with you. It's great if you could ever find somebody to do it.
If you do a good job and you treat that client well, they'll do it for you. And I'm telling you, because I've got clients who do that a lot. It's not that hard.
I don't think you do it to everybody.
Yeah, you choose.
Look at your phone and
Yeah, exactly. You cherry pick the
video.
ones that
You don't do
so
that.
passionate about it. You almost, we know they're going to probably
Do it when you hand them the settlement check and they're smiling.
Yeah, do when you did a person therapy for you. You cut your fees, cut costs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have first clients all the time asking them to do something.
And do they do it?
And they
Yes,
do it,
Ron.
yeah.
Absolutely.
They will. Write us reviews.
Every
I'm sure
last
I
one.
can find clients to do on, we have.
Writing reviews to do a video testimonial.
We've had video testimonials.
Some people aren't going to be comfortable on video. I agree with you.
Yeah, I
But
think
believe me, if you pick the right ones, you'll get it, and they'll be way more believable than just having the attorney on.
To ask.
So absolutely, they're great if you can get them, yeah.
You grow up short, ugly, and within years.
All right, moving on. Organic social media. I think people in this room, I'm preaching to the choir, you guys are all on social media. Like, I see you more than just about anybody else. And not just the people in the room, the people who are probably listening to this right now, or maybe will be listening to the recording. I am so impressed with your personal devotion to social media. It's really impressive, and I believe that it benefits you in the long run. So the thing that I would say is be consistent, put together a content calendar, just be consistent about getting the stuff out there in front of it. Don't in front of your target audience. Don't make it promotional. My rule of thumb is about 80% non-promotional. Some people say 90%. It doesn't matter. The point is the vast majority should be informational, should be sharing, engaging with other people, not being promotional. And by the way, video is really also important on social media. So there's another reason to do it. Now on the paid social media, how many of you guys are doing actively paying for more followers, more likes, clicks to website? Anybody doing that? Got a couple of them in here? Facebook, Twitter, anything like that? All right. Here's the deal. I know this is a little bit controversial. We were talking earlier about Google AdWords, $90, $100 a click. Facebook click to website, we're typically seeing $1, maybe $1.50 at the most. We drive tons of traffic to client websites for that kind of for those campaigns, and it's people who are in their market, because you can limit it geographically, limit it demographically. You can build your fans in your market. And again, demographic and geographic limitations. You can do remarketing. Google has basically limited or eliminated remarketing on AdWords. So guess what? People are spending hours a day on Facebook. Let's remarket to them there. Facebook doesn't care. They'll take your money. You can do local awareness campaigns, video views, and Twitter. I have to tell you, I really believe that there's opportunity in Twitter that people are not tapping. I'm not saying that you're going to get tons and tons of leads directly from Twitter. What I am saying is that you can build your audience, drive them to your other social media, drive them to Facebook, drive them to your website, and over time, as you use that to build your brand, you will actually see business coming from it. I also think I feel strongly about LinkedIn. So, yeah. You
No,
don't
I'm just-
you don't agree with me. That's
What I-
okay.
what I
That's okay.
don't-
It's a discussion.
I do a lot of Twitter and a lot of Facebook and a lot of Google Plus. I'm starting to come to the belief that it's a complete waste of time in a lot of ways. Twitter is a joke. I don't even. It gives you no SEO value. The people there, I don't think they really are looking for lawyers there. Facebook, I think, is kind of a joke. I don't think it works for lawyers very well. That's my personal opinion.
Well, I think you have to think about it a little bit differently. I think you have to think about it as, how can I build my brand? How can I come up when somebody types in Providence, East Providence? East Providence, okay. So East Providence personal injury lawyer, Slepko comes up, right? Does it?
Hopefully.
Okay. Well, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Twitter can help with that, as can all the other things. But what you're doing is it's not all direct response. And if that's all you're looking for, then hell, just pay for AdWords, or do, direct response TV advertising. What I'm talking about is doing some very, I think, cost-effective and affordable advertising and marketing strategies that will build your brand so that ultimately when people are needing a lawyer, they're thinking about Slepko. They're not just thinking about a personal injury lawyer. That's what I'm talking about. And I think Twitter can help you there. And I think LinkedIn can help you there too. This is about who gives you referrals. People in your market are going to, they may not get in an accident, but they may know somebody who got in an accident. You may have a family or a friend or a colleague who needs your help. And if they're seeing you all the time and seeing you engaged, they're more likely to recommend you. That's my point. Yeah.
Dan, on the branding issue, when you started out, you said that some of these big firms are being branded and showing up. Is it because of TV that people are looking at the TV and then they don't get the number down, or later on they go back and then they just go on their phone and then look up that name, you think?
Well, I think that there's a number of things. But first of all, I don't know Google's black box. I wish I did, but I don't have the answer there. But I do believe that more people go to the TV advertisers because of the brand. They know the brand. And so they're typing in directly the name of the law firm. And eventually Google sees, okay, this guy's getting more traffic, more people are typing it in directly. They're more likely to prompt you when you're looking for a particular type of lawyer if more people are going to that. That's why when I showed you those Google Trends charts earlier, Sawaya is off the charts. And Berg Simpson, they're advertising and more people are typing in their names and their law firm's names directly than are typing in searches for Denver personal injury lawyer. That's all.
And your feeling is they're typing in those names because of the awareness that people have from TV?
Probably TV is a big part of it. Maybe billboards. I mean, think about how people are advertising. I mean, they're spending millions of dollars a year advertising to promote their names and drive traffic. And Google's not stupid. I mean, Google sees that and they see, okay, they may not know the quality of the law firm, but they know a lot of people are going to that law firm site. Google Analytics is capturing that data. Google knows this site's getting 10,000 visitors a month or whatever the number is, whereas this other site's getting 500 visitors a month. Who do you think Google's going to prompt you to go see? They're not going to prompt you to go see the also ran that's down here at 500. They're going to prompt you to see however they're getting it. And what I'm suggesting with this multi-channel approach is that you can also get it. Maybe not 10,000 visitors a month, but if you do a combination of many of these strategies, you'll build up your brand awareness, you'll build up your traffic. Google will see, oh, Castelli's getting all this traffic. Maybe I should prompt the next person who starts typing in Ohio personal injury lawyer to go directly to Castelli.
When I do Facebook, and they give you a bunch of 4 or 5 different places that you can have your ads surfaced. Affiliate sites is one of their big ones. Mm-hmm. When I use that, that's where it seems most of my impressions come.
Yeah.
But when I looked at my analytics, they're bouncing like crazy.
Right. I don't think we use that one.
Yeah, so that's, I was just wanting to see if that was your same feeling, to use more of the local feed,
it's the native ads is what we're trying to get. So inside of the feed. So when you're scrolling on your phone and you see an ad, it says sponsored post or something like that. That's what I'm talking about. And if you click on it, it'll either get you to like that company's website, company's Facebook page, or it'll drive you directly to the company's website. So anyway, my point on all of this is it all works together, and ultimately the sum is greater. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. That's really the bottom line. If you do multiple pieces of this, you're going to get better results than if you just work on one side. I'm going to keep on going just so I can get through here. We're close, but so online display advertising. I took this screenshot on the right here this morning. I was just I was putting this slideshow together. Apex Chat. We do a lot of our clients are on Apex Chat, and we actually do a lot of work with them and do some of their own marketing. This is just an ad that shows up. I think I was on Politico. I was reading about Donald Trump, and I just happened to see I thought, okay, well that's perfect. It's something we could put on this slideshow. But your clients and your prospects are not always searching for personal injury lawyers. They're doing other stuff. They may be reading the news. They may be looking at videos. They may be looking at the weather or sports or what have you. And the point is that for very little money, you can get in front of them on a regular basis to build your brand in a way that right now those TV advertisers are getting in front of the daytime TV audience. This will help you do that, and it's not that expensive. And as I was saying earlier, you can get guaranteed clicks. So for like $1,200, $1,500, we could get you 400 or 500 clicks guaranteed. It's not an impression-based thing anymore, and it's all limited demographically, geographically. So you tell them, I want people within 10 miles of this spot, or I want people, in this county, or this zip code, or these zip codes, or this whole state if you want a whole state, and you'll be able to get in front of them and build your brand and get traffic from it, guaranteed clicks. The other thing that we can do, I can go into a lot of, there's so many things you can use. You can advertise on mobile apps now. How many of you have done that? Anybody done any mobile app advertising? Chris, okay. It's great. It's a brand building thing, and you're in front of them. Again, you can get guaranteed clicks from those mobile apps, and you don't pay unless you get the clicks, and it's a fraction of Google AdWords cost. Another thing that we're starting to do, and it's kind of cool, is you could advertise, for instance, what's called geofencing. You can advertise within 300 yards of a specific building, and anybody who comes into that building that has a smartphone that has some of those apps running that are in the Google network, they get targeted, and then for the next month, they see ads from you. So, for instance, let's say you wanted to advertise to people who went to Tampa Bay, Tampa Buccaneers, right? Or the Rays. So you basically say, okay, anybody who comes within 300 yards of this stadium for the 5-hour period between this time and that time, which is 2 hours before or an hour before and after the game, you can target anybody who walks in there with a cell phone that's active, that has a even if they're not looking at the app, if they happen to have an app that is active in the background on when they walk in, that cell phone gets targeted, and now whatever they do for the next 30 days, they're going to see your ads. Not expensive. And that one is the only display ad strategy that I've got that is impression based. The rest of them are all pay per click. So yeah, Chris.
We started doing that for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
and then I read a discussion about ethics opinions, because like you're targeting a hospital and doing 300 feet. Do you have any opinion of the ethics of whether it's kosher or not?
I think it's different. I think that's a whole different conversation, and we could probably spend an hour on that.
Under California law, I don't think we have a problem.
Yeah, I would say this.
That's what he's saying. I didn't think
It's not a
that's what he
developed
wanted.
area. I question the ethics myself, and I don't think it's a developed area. And I personally wouldn't do it if it involved like another lawyer's firm or a hospital. Because what's the difference between that and standing outside with a flyer and handing flyers to particular people? I just see that as being borderline unethical. I don't know.
Well, I'm not suggesting you do it in front of for people who go into a law firm, a competitor's law firm. First of all, I don't think that's a good thing. The hospital, I actually like that idea. I don't know that there's an ethical issue there, but I think that's a question, for you, to ask your local ethics guy. All I'm saying is, great opportunity now, much better than 2 years ago when I first presented about online display advertising. Way better than it was. The other thing is, if you look at how much time people are spending on watching videos online, it's almost 2 hours now, 2 hours a day. Pre-roll video. I mean, how many of you guys have tried to watch a video and you have to wait, I have to wait 15 seconds before this video? Guess what? That's a huge impression. It's a great opportunity to brand your practice, brand your firm in front of people who are in your market. You can, again, limit it demographically, limit it geographically, so it's only the people who you want to see it. They're going to see your ads, but they're not just going to see them on the pre-roll video. They're going to see them on the display ads. They're going to see them on social media. They're going to see them in the reviews. The idea is that you're all over the place. And then, when they're ready to hire a lawyer, they're going to call Dolman. Right?
That's the goal.
That's the goal. All right, a little plug for Seth, who just walked in. Online reviews. You're not looking at this, but I used your firm as an example. Just thought I'd give you a little plug here. So obviously we talked about online reviews now twice already in this. I think that online reviews are probably one of the most important things you can do for your firm right now. I just used this example with Price Benowitz. I did a search for DC injury lawyer this morning while I'm sitting in my hotel room working on this presentation. Surprise, surprise, who comes up number one, huh? And what, 49 reviews, local listing, and then 5-star rating, and the organic, so top of local, top of organic. Who's got the most reviews? Price Benowitz. And I think that if you're not focused on reviews, however you get them, if you have a reviews platform, if you've got a system in your office, you're missing out if you're not taking full advantage of that. That is huge.
Learned it all from Dan.
I'm learning from Seth every day. So, all right, marketing automation. So this we kind of chatted about this a little bit earlier. We have started setting this up for our clients, and I believe that this, and we do it for ourselves, by the way, for page one. Huge opportunity. Most people who come to your website are not converting. Most people are not calling you or emailing you or chatting you. Most people go to your website and then they leave and they go somewhere else. And what I'm advocating here is there's a great way for you to take the next step to actually connect with and nurture people who are interested. They've expressed an interest by going to your website. Here's an opportunity to really take it to the next level by nurturing them with a steady flow of information. And you know who's the best at this? I don't know if you guys haven't seen it. Ben Glass. He does a tremendous job of marketing automation. He really does. And if you haven't been to his website and seen what he does, it's worth going. Download something from his website, and you'll start getting a steady flow of it. This is really inexpensive and really easy to do. If you're not doing it, get on it.
In fact, if you just, we're all familiar with doing like Google Trends. If you're all familiar with doing just traditional database marketing, so if you do a comparison between database marketing and inbound marketing, you're going to find that there are twice as many marketers and businesses out there researching inbound marketing compared to database marketing. Inbound marketing is where it's going. Content marketing is the same thing. You're going to see a Google trend in terms of, and the people that are doing those searches are businesses, small businesses and marketers. And it's all content marketing, and inbound marketing, it is going through the roof in terms of the research that is being done on this. You guys have to be jumping on board with this, because the best part of inbound marketing, as Dan was talking about, is people that are already familiar with you to some degree, even if it's a one-time visitor. They're there for a reason. Go to an attorney website for the sake of entertainment. They're there for a reason. You got to find out of the 95% of the people that visit your site, who gets paid, because there is a leap that people have to go to pick up the phone and call or send an email. There's a leap that you have to get to. Not everybody's at that point. It's the people that are, earlier in that process that still want information. When you get it, that's the 95% of the opportunity. It's coming to your website.
Okay, I don't know who's got their. If you're online on Google Plus, turn it on mute. I can hear somebody else coming through here. Somebody out there have it online. Hey, Mike, you got somebody who's got audio on out there. We're here getting the feedback. So yeah, if you're not doing inbound or what I like to refer to as marketing automation, I think you're missing out. Huge, inexpensive, huge opportunity. Yeah.
What is the I am riding down the road in my Buick, and across my screen comes my personal injury competitor, the state of Ohio. Have you heard of that? I don't know if it's
on your Buick.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just certain cars that some company has.
Oh, so you're connected with Wi-Fi or something?
I don't have Wi-Fi. It's just I'm playing my radio.
Oh, it shows up on the. Yeah, I'm not sure who it is. It's probably somebody doing through the radio station.
Okay.
And so I mean, sure, it's an advertising advertising play with the radio station. They probably spend a certain amount of dollars and they get that. And I would imagine personal injury lawyers would like that. Make drivers more distracted so they're more likely to get in an accident. All right, I want to finish up here because we're getting toward the end. Does anybody have questions about marketing automation? There's a little flyer here if anybody wants to look at that.
The real quick topic is
yeah.
to ask you about.
Yeah.
What about texting? You're seeing texting ads starting.
Mm-hmm.
Any good companies you recommend, or you know about it?
To be honest with you, I have not gotten into that, but I do think that that's huge, and actually a huge potential because it's immediate. People are seeing texting all. You have the short answer is
Idea is the only one that's close.
Say it. Who it again?
That's the best text.
Right. So there's a couple of things that I have seen, but I don't think it's ready for prime time yet.
Okay.
But what I have seen is texting that's connected with marketing automation. So in other words, you come to the firm, and they get your text, they get your cell number, and all of a sudden now you start getting text messages from the firm. Doctors do it all the time. One of the benefits that I have of being in medical as well as legal industries is we see what's happening on the medical side, and there's a lot of money going into the medical side because you've got the device and drug manufacturers that are spending tons of money with the doctors, and so there's lots of people who are trying to capture it. I think there's great opportunity, but I don't think, at least what I've seen yet, not quite ready for prime time, but probably 6 months or a year, you'll probably have that. That's at least what I've seen. If you find it first, tell me. I want to.
There are one of the things when you're mentioning texting. Texting is, I think people feel like it's so much more personal. Like when I get a text, it's from somebody who knows me. A lot of that is. But I would say, as it relates to the reviews and such, a lot of platforms now engaging in text messaging as a means of securing reviews.
Sure.
And quite honestly, it blows the door off of.
Demand for smile reminder.
It's the text messaging.
Solution rate.
Reviews.
That's true, especially for
Instead of
doing it like crazy.
Oh yeah.
I have to disagree with the consensus here. I think it's awful because I get text messages from CVS and everybody else. It's going to lead to potential user backlash if people don't want to be. People find it invasive. They don't want to get text messages from anybody. I think you may be actually alienating your audience by doing it.
Some people will. Yeah.
But as well as it might be unethical too. Is another issue.
I don't think you text people out of the blue. I think you text people once they have connected with you in your office. You can text them appointment reminders. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It may offend you, it may bother you, and to be honest with you, I'm not a fan of it either. but it is effective, and we see it all the time on the medical side, and it is hugely effective. Hugely effective. We see clients. I mean, we've seen clients with 150 reviews, all from texting.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
Again,
unusual.
And I agree with you. I think I'm not a big proponent of just broadcast, leveraging text advertising. I'm not a big fan of that. It is more of the relationships. What Dan's talking about in terms of developing this online community. Did you know that when people say, how many people visit my site, all of my clients were so focused on unique users. I want new users. I want first-time visitors. That's great, but they don't even care about how many repeat visitors. The value of repeat visitors is huge. Why do you think Wikipedia is so valuable? It's because 95% of that traffic that goes to Wikipedia now is repeat visitors. They've been there before, and they're seeing it as a resource. Why do you go to a website one time, you never come back? Does that visit really count for a lot? Probably
and what do you
not.
think Google thinks about that? Google probably doesn't think that website's valuable if you don't come
Exactly.
back.
So it's even this outreach, and I think for the first time, there's things online with digital marketing that's not waiting for somebody to do the search. It's going out there actively targeting the right people, the right demographics. You can do contextual, display advertising, so they've been researching this thing within a short period of time that you can get in front of them to start branding doesn't have to be 20 years of I've got to be on TV to be branded. You can brand yourself within a concentrated period of time when I'm in the market. Okay, when I'm looking for certain products, all of a sudden, if I'm looking for that for 30 days, all of a sudden I become an expert of that product and all the 4 or 5 different varieties, and I've already singled out which one I want. That's branding. That branding can happen in 60 days, 30 days, or 10 years. Okay, but it's at the time when I need it, when I'm researching it. There's now outreach. I want clients to start thinking outreach, not about just waiting for somebody to do some search or research or review or search Google. It's going out there and drawing and building an audience and a community long before they actually start searching.
I think it goes back to the question that Tony asked earlier about does Google notice that all these people are typing in and going directly to a TV advertising law firm's website. What I'm talking about, you're not going to have that kind of reach and that kind of impact unless you are advertising on TV. But if you do all of these things, drive people through your social media advertising, drive people through the display advertising, get repeat visitors. That's one of the tremendous things about marketing automation. You can keep people coming back to your site. Google sees that. They may or may not know where it's coming from, if it's coming as a direct search or as a direct somebody typing it in directly, or if somebody's clicking on a link from an email or a text or whatever. But they definitely know that you're coming back, and that has value. And one of the things that I'm talking about is that this all actually works together. It will help improve your ranking ultimately. It's not all going to happen at once. Last thing, and then I'm going to wrap up here, is intake. I can't tell you how many law firms I deal with who say, oh, we got 98% of the leads that we want to close, we close. They're lying. And you guys, if you don't take this seriously, you're missing out on a huge, huge thing. Your intake is going to be a huge differentiator on whether you make, out of 1,000 visitors to your website, whether you get 10 clients or 12 clients or 15 clients. You're paying for all those, whether it's with your dollars or with your time or your resources. You're paying for that traffic. You're paying for those people to come to your website. You're paying for those people to call you. Improve your intake, and you'll get a higher return on investment. It's not that hard to do, but you have to make it a priority. So I'm not an intake expert. All I can tell you, and by the way, Bill is really good on the intake side, but if you make it a priority and you make that something that's important to you and your firm, it'll pay dividends 10 times over. Final slide here is that, and this is kind of what I was getting at earlier, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. All of this stuff works together, and if you are take a more comprehensive approach, instead of just focusing on your SEO, you're going to end up being in a much better position. Think about it this way. Number one, people who are doing searches in terms of their time online, we're Google partners, so we get these presentations by Google fairly often. The last one, which was like a couple weeks ago, the stat they gave us was that, and this is from Google, only 20% of people's time online is spent doing search. And think about that. How much of that 20% is really searching for personal injury lawyers? Relatively little. But let's assume it's all 20% is search, for whatever, restaurants or blah, blah, whatever. 80%, think of the pie. You're getting a 20% slice versus the 80% slice. If you don't think about that 80%, which is what they're doing when they're on social media, when they're looking at their apps, when they're doing searches for, restaurants or doing their online banking, whatever they're doing, if you're not thinking about that and trying to take advantage of the time that people are spending doing things other than search, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. And if you do that and you take the more comprehensive approach, ultimately you'll benefit on the SEO side as well. So there you go.
So last one is timing. Timing is everything. We all know. How many times do you wish we did something 5-6 years ago? Should have done this a lot sooner. I guarantee you the guys that are going to be spending a lot of the money in 5 or 6 years are not going to be the guys that are, you're going to lose opportunity. It's going to cost you twice as much to compete with those once they start figuring this out. You guys are good on the stuff that you guys are doing now and cutting edge on a lot of things, but this is another area. Be the first, be the maverick. You'll capture a much larger percent of it than if you wait and you got some big advertisers spending big money trying to now raise the price of everything else.
All right. Last, I got books for everybody. So there's a book. I got other. Take the book. Everybody get a book here. Here you go. Have a book. Have a book.
Dan.
Thanks, Dan. Thank you very much.
Anybody need some pens? I don't want to bring any of this stuff